financial freedom, it's within everyone's reach. Anissa Keyes shows you how to build prosperity and generational wealth for your family on Becoming the Bank.
Hello, it's me, Anissa Keyes, again, with Becoming the Bank. Let me move my little toys and and things out of my background here. I am so excited today because we have been on a little bit of a series, not really a series, but we have been talking with all of the folks that I have been working eagerly with this past year to talk a little bit about my work with them. But before we even get started, because we have a guest today and I'm just a little bit anxious about that, I want to tell you a little bit about sort of what this podcast is about, right? That this is a becoming podcast, right? And so we spend a lot of time not just on how-tos of finances, which you can find the how-tos anywhere on the internet about how to become financially free, how to save more money, how to buy a home, how to become a wealth builder. So we spend a lot more time on becoming someone that can attain those things, becoming someone that lives a life of financial freedom, not just doing those things. And so there's a difference in that. And so we have been talking for the last couple of weeks with folks that have journeyed with me through this curriculum that God allowed me to create. It's a kingdom living curriculum. That's what it's called, kingdom living, which really differentiates the difference between sort of like how the world spends money and how the world sees money. And even how the church sees money is different than sort of what the biblical principles and practices that are actually taught from the Word of God. There's actually 3 levels. And so our focus is really on kingdom living, right? So this is coming straight from the Word of God, focusing different tools and techniques on how do we become someone that is really a kingdom wealth builder. So God allowed me to hand select 5 folks. I was really excited. I asked them to walk on this journey with me. So we did a pilot. I'll tell you a little bit at the end about what we're going to do ongoing. But what I asked them to do was spend a whole year with me. They spent 4 hours on a Saturday every month, and they learned different kingdom building techniques. So that was like financial techniques, but then also we learned parts of the Bible that sort of taught on these particular principles and practices that could help you to become financially free. And so we talked to 2 people over the last couple of weeks, and today we have our 3rd person. Her name is Alicia Keyes. Not the Alicia Keyes, but a Alicia Keyes. Hi, Alicia. How are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm excited because this is my niece, you guys. And it's so funny because people always, when they hear my name, Anissa Keyes, are always like, you related to Alicia Keyes? And I'm like, I am, but not the one that you're thinking. So, hi, how are you doing today, Alicia?
I'm good.
Good. I am so glad you're with us. So we have just a few questions. This is going to be really like just you sharing sort of your experience a little bit. I kind of talked a little bit earlier, just in the last couple of moments, talked about like that there was this curriculum that I taught for the last 12 months. And you guys complete that curriculum with me in this sort of intimate setting, talking about your finances personally. I talked a lot about my financial situation as well. And then at the end, you sort of get this $5,000. So you participated with me. I'm so grateful. And I'm so happy you're here to sort of share a little bit. Okay, right off the jump, I just want to ask you about like, in your experience, right? Because we talk a lot about becoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
What type of person do you think that you needed to become like financially free or to become a kingdom wealth manager? Who'd you need to become?
I think I needed to become more self-aware. Before, I lived in like a $1,700 apartment, and I just really didn't have like any focus. I just liked kind of like living a little bit luxurious, and not really kind of going after material things, and not really seeing that that's not that really matters.
Yeah. That's good. $1,700 apartment hurts my heart. Like, I'm just like, I hear that. I don't think I knew about that until we were well into the plan. Like, I didn't know why God had me choose you, but I was like, $1,700 in rent? What?
Yeah.
Like, and I mean, it must have been a nice spot, but like,
it was okay.
I'm sure it was okay, right? You changed it, right? You changed sort of like your value around that. You're like, yeah, it wasn't really all that. Now that I understand that I was sort of taking care of somebody else's bill and like really providing wealth for somebody else, right? Absolutely. So becoming more self-aware. And when you think about like what parts of you had to like shift to become more self-aware, what did you have to do or what did you learn to do to become really more self-aware?
I kind of had to step aside and think about what works best for me and like my connection with God versus like what I see everywhere else.
Yeah.
Because everywhere else, you know, people had nice cars, nice apartments, nice clothes.
Yeah.
And I was kind of trying to chase that.
Yeah.
So that's where I kind of like realized that that's not really the life that I want to live.
That's so good. You know, one of the things, it's so amazing because you guys keep bringing up different things that you sort of learned, which has really been helpful for me as well. Because it's a common sort of desire for us to want to keep up with the Joneses. I think that that's the saying, or like we see other people live in a certain way and we think in part, like, I deserve that too, right? It's just not to say that you don't, but you have no idea sort of what they had to do to get there or how they're spending their money. And oftentimes it may not necessarily be sort of that they're utilizing biblical principles and practices to get there. It could be like worldly ways, right? So some of the things that we learned that is different from the world is there's this idea of like, you have to take in the world, right? And we learned that in the Word of God, it teaches us to give, to get, right? Where we sort of learn in the world, in order to get, you got to like take, you know, you keep taking. And so you see people and you're comparing yourselves to people that may not even have the same belief system. They may not even be living in the same way as you, or desiring the same things that you want. So that's just so huge to be aware that like, I want those things, but I want them in a different way. Or if I really even do want those, right? Like, am I just doing what everybody else is doing? Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. What other surprising lessons did you learn during this time?
Surprising lessons.
Yeah.
I think material, that it really doesn't matter. And that even just like building a connection, a stronger connection with God is worth way more than any materials that I could possess.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. You know, that makes me think of, I know I'm not supposed to be doing all the talking. You're supposed to be doing more of the talking, but like you say good stuff. So like, it just makes me think of like, especially for kingdom wealth building, right? Like we think about wealth as being the amount of money you have. And I think I started the class saying like, we got to redefine wealth in the first place, because I think the Lord wants us to live financially free, but that doesn't mean we have to have a whole lot of money to do that. Right. The Lord wants us to give, but that doesn't mean that he needs us to give millions. Right. Or he wants us to have, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to have a whole lot to have. And so I think that's really important, because what's most important, what gives us the most wealth, right, is doing what the Lord wants us to do with our money. Right. Or it's chasing him, not chasing the money. Right. And so like, you're absolutely right. That's a huge lesson that you learned. Any other lessons that you think that you want to share?
Any other lessons?
Yes.
Just staying true to self. Before I didn't really have like a sense of self, a sense of purpose. The classes were so amazing. And it kind of just like, at one point I didn't really feel close to God, but the classes really showed that as long as you like kind of like make your way down that path, he's there and he's waiting for you.
That's beautiful, Alicia. That's so beautiful. That's so wonderful. Okay. 2 last questions. What will you do differently now because of the learning? Like, what things have you already begun to implement, or what are you thinking like for sure you're gonna? And you did something like extreme, like you left your apartment. So
I left my apartment.
Class, you're like, I'm out of here. This does not make sense. Like, So like, what other things like will you do differently because of your learning?
Being more intentional for sure. I did leave my $1,700 apartment. I'm living with my friend. She was only charging me $200 in rent a month, which is amazing. Also budgeting. Before I didn't really have like, I kind of just like did whatever. I kind of made sure that I had enough money for rent, and then that was it. So I would spend how much whenever I got it.
Whatever you got left.
So just making sure that I have enough money and being more intentional about it, about how I spend it.
That's good. That's good. We talked a lot about intentionality. That's really good. And then last question, what are you going to do with your $5,000? Right? Like, so yeah, like what is the plan? Because you're in your friend's house now, you're only paying $200. So you're already got like $1,500 difference in like, so you've already got enough to be like, I'm about to get me something else, or I'm about to pay off debt, whatever. What are you going to do with the extra $5,000?
I am going to try to obtain a house.
Good for you.
Yeah, so I'm taking build wealth classes.
Yeah.
And in between that, I also want to start classes to become a certified lash tech.
Nice. So
I'll be doing that as well.
2 wealth building strategies. I just want to hone in on that, right? Because that's a huge deal, because we are always learning wealth building strategies, but 2 of the biggest wealth building strategies, right, is buying a home, bam, and then having a business. So that's amazing. Thank you so much, Alicia, for your time. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for the past year. I know that like there's a lot of learning, a lot of information. Of course, you'll continue to learn, and the Lord will continue to sort of guide your path around your finance journey. Just for everyone else, so blessed to have you guys listen and be a part of the podcast today. Next, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about like the next opportunity we have for sort of like this wealth building journey, that we'll be talking with folks from High Praise Ministries next year, 2023. They've already identified 5 folks that will be walking through this journey with me. Hopefully I'll hear from another church for 2024. The hope is to be able to bless them with 5,000. I'm hopeful that the Lord will bless me with more, so I'll be able to bless them with more. And then ongoing and some angel investing here. Really excited about what God is doing. So I just hope that you heard something today from Alicia, from me, that blessed you. My hope is that you become a blessing and a resource to your family, your sphere of influence, and your community. This is Becoming the Bank with Anissa Keyes. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Sheesh.
Check back next week for more of Anissa's Kingdom Principles to Live a Prosperous Life. To find previous episodes of Becoming the Bank, log on to ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
You deserve more internet than what you get from just your cell phone. Get free high-speed internet at home, a $29.95 value when you qualify for Internet Essentials Plus and the Affordable Connectivity Program. Enjoy more streaming, gaming, and video chatting on more devices for free. With unlimited data and a wireless gateway included at no extra cost. No fees, no taxes, and no annual contract. Connect to more of what you love for free with Xfinity and the Affordable Connectivity Program. Click, call, or visit a store to learn more.